Welcome to another great episode of Growth Through Positivity. Today I have the honors of having C.A. Green, and I'm going to let him introduce himself, who he is, and what is it that he does. C.A., take the stage, introduce yourself to the audience.
For sure. Thanks for having me on, by the way. Yeah, so I'm CA Green. I'm a video producer. I have a company called Behind the Beard Media. It's a very small company. It's just me, and I hire freelancers on an as-needed basis. So I have some flexibility of hiring people that can fit into different budget sizes, and I work with overseas people, New York, Florida, all over. And I focus on really like three different things. So I've got kind of narrative-driven marketing videos, which means like a 1 to 2 minute video that's story based. And I do social media videos, like where we could do something like this and then cut up short social media clips and people can use that for content. And then, I have a history and love with movies and TV. So I'm actually also pursuing producing features, TV shows, series, that kind of thing this year as well. So a little bit about me, I guess. I grew up, not Hasidic. I was born Jewish, but wasn't religious by any stretch of the imagination. I was like a typical American, stoner, just like go to the movies, playing baseball. But I always felt like there's something more to life than just whatever life I was living, and I didn't want to just get a job and then get a white picket fence and then retire and die. Like I always felt like somehow I was destined for more. And, some of that might have been a little bit of delusions of grandeur, but it also primed me for, feeling like there's a purpose to the universe and to everything that's going on. So I found answers and connection through movies that I was watching, through the community of people that I hung out with who were really into creating stuff like that. And, all different books and art and music and a lot of things where you're kind of tapping into this little ethereal way of expression. I saw like, oh, there's something that we're tapping into here that seems a little bit bigger than myself, bigger than the people I was surrounding myself with. So I kind of ran full force into wanting to make movies from as a little kid. Like I never really thought I wanted to be an astronaut or a firefighter. It was like I want to be a director. Like that was it. So I picked up a camera, my 15, 16 years old, started messing around and making short films. And once I learned the mechanics of stuff, was like, this is awesome. Like I love doing this. I love making something, kind of something from nothing. I went to college at Florida State University in Tallahassee in Florida. And while there, I made a company with a couple of other friends, and we used to just trade businesses instead of getting paid. So we would eat for free, live for free, got free haircuts back when I, needed more haircuts. And we figured out like what we were all good at. So at first we all started shooting and editing and producing and writing and directing, all that stuff. And then we quickly realized like these two guys were better at shooting and editing. I was better at producing, writing, and directing. This guy was better at sales. So we kind of fell into like a really nice groove as to what we were doing. After we graduated, we all decided we wanted to go somewhere else. So a couple guys went down to South Florida. I went to LA for a little bit, and somebody else went to, I want to say Colorado, something like that. So LA totally, I could not cut it. I went with like $1,000, no car, and just like completely failed. Like did not work out for me. So moved back to Florida, saved up some money, and then moved to New York in 2014. And I hit the ground running. Like, just got on a commercial, got on a show, got on a movie, and then connected with a location manager. So in the movie industry, the locations department is like the bridge between the circus of production and the real world. So if you're ever shooting outside of a studio, you need to be able to talk to the mayor's office, fire department, police station, like anyone that you would need to say, we need permits, we need parking, we're going to shoot here, the neighbors, everything like that, and what each department in the film world needs. So it was a slow route to producing because you learn what every department needs. You have the second largest budget on the show besides the overall budget. And that was the plan. So I did that for 2 years, so 2014 to 2016. And again, got completely wiped by the industry, like 70, 80 hours a week. The industry at that level is very hierarchical, and unless you're like an A-list actor or director, like you're kind of disposable, so it just didn't feel like I was really valued. And, it wasn't really about me. It was just about fitting into the machine. And so at the end of 2015, just before 2016, I was feeling really confused about like, what am I doing now? Like, I love film, I love making movies, I love wanting to be in the industry, and kind of achieved part of that dream. And then I saw like this wasn't really working out. So that's when a friend of mine called and was like, "You want to go on birthright to Israel?" And I'm like, "I don't know about that. I don't want to do anything more Jewish. I don't want to be religious. I don't like, Israel. I don't know anything." But I thought to myself, like, why not? You know, like, it's a free trip. Like, I had gone to Spain and Italy and Morocco the year before, so I was down to like travel, you know. So I went on the birthright trip and I brought with me 3 tabs of LSD to take while I was over there, which is like a crazy psychedelic. So went to Tzfat, which is like the, you know, trippy hippie city in the north, and like that's my kind of people, you know, candle makers, artists, glass blowers, like just, you know, bunch of that town like spoke to me. So I'm like, this is where I'm going to take the LSD. So I'm walking around Sfat, and a guy comes up to me and says, "You want to do your mitzvah for the day?" I'm like, "What's a mitzvah?" He's like, "Oh, put on tefillin." I'm like, "What's tefillin? What are you talking about?" So I thought to myself, if I was writing the script to my life, this is what's called an origin story. Like, you're on your favorite psychedelic, you're in the holiest place in the world, and you're Jewish. The character of you puts on tefillin. So we put on tefillin, and as we're like wrapping up, a butterfly comes and lands right on the guy's shirt. So I reach over with my hands and I grab the butterfly, and like time stops. It's like all I can feel are the wings, and all I can hear is my breath. You know, like James Earl Jones like comes out from the sky and is like, "There is a God," and I was just like, "What is going on?" So my mind was basically blown, and I didn't think like I'm gonna now become religious. I just thought I need to keep putting on tefillin. So I came back to the States. I quit the movies. I got close with a Chabad shliach that was up the street from where I was living in Brooklyn, and I got a job working for Pashka's, you know, the kosher candy company. So after like 9 months of doing that, I was like, "What's the next step?" So he said, "You should probably go to yeshiva." So I looked into Morristown in New Jersey, caught a train, went over there, and I never learned before in that caliber, so we weren't sure how long I would last. But after 2 weeks, I'm like, I can't go back to Brooklyn, and ended up staying 2 years in Morristown. So kind of, you know, drank the Kool-Aid by the gallon, like totally became a different person, and like, you know, went by my Hebrew name, wore the whole get up. Like I was, you know, kiss a Shulchan Aruch every day. Like I went through that in 4 months just to learn how to be a Jew. And then after about 2 years, like 2018, I got married and moved to Atlanta with my wife, where she was getting her PhD in religious studies. She's actually like kind of the Hasidic feminist now. So her dissertation was on how a Jewish woman is defined through the lens of Hasidus and, you know, Jewish mysticism. So we did Atlanta for 2 years while she was getting her school. Like the first 2 years, I was a shliach at a Chabad house. So like I went by Rabbi Green for a while, which is like a crazy identity shift for me. And again, after those 2 years, I kind of, you know, I noticed a trend that I kind of go through these periods where like after a bit, I'm like, hey, like checking in with myself, like, is this what I'm supposed to do? Is this feels right? Is this aligned? I realized, you know, I have a film reel tattoo like around my biceps. So I kind of thought like, what am I doing being a rabbi? Like I need to be making videos. I need to be making movies, like all this stuff. So, and now that I had kind of settled into the Yiddishkeit, it felt like I was able to do this again. So the beginning of 2020, I'm going to get back into production. So that's like the worst possible time to get back into production because everything shut down. So I had actually a Havrusa in Morristown who was a motion designer. So I called him and we actually produced like 6 short clips for this rabbi at UPenn who was, you know, trying to promote a book. And so we made like some book promos and they were trippy and cool and, you know, deep Kabbalistic stuff with like geometric shapes. It was a lot of fun. And then from 2020 to 23, I was kind of figuring out, am I producing? Am I writing? Am I doing Jewish stuff? Not Jewish stuff? Like, who are my people? Where do I fit in? So my network obviously was the Jewish community. And I kind of oscillated between producing on set and writing like even copy and emails and newsletters and stuff like that because, you know, my values had changed. So I didn't want to be out for 12 to 15 hours a day. I have a family. Thank God I've got 3 little kids now. So I kind of was trying to weigh like what would make sense for us to do. 2024 was like another big wake up where it was like, no, this is what I have to do. I made like I produced an 18-minute documentary for Gem. I did a 2.5-minute video for Yanko Maislin, who I know was on your podcast. And like that helped him like crazy. He got interviewed on Kosher Money, Live L'chaim. He 5X his investment with me. And I'm like, producing is what I need to do. So 24 was really focusing on that. And then we moved to Philadelphia over the summer. So now I'm like, meeting a lot more people, trying to network outside of the, you know, clearly Jewish businesses, which I'm for everything. Like, I'm down to keep doing Jewish stuff. I'm down to keep doing Jewish owned businesses. I'm down to do non-Jewish businesses. I think that there's stories in all of those. So I'm trying to find people who really value that, and also, listen to the market. So sometimes they don't need a $7,500 or $15,000 video. They need just short social media clips. So trying to meet the market where they are and just provide them with what they need in the video space. So that's me in I'd say a small nutshell, but that was probably 8 minutes of me talking.
That was awesome. I tell you, there's so much inspiration in that story, and kudos to you. There's hundreds of questions that I have. I'll have you back on because there are a lot of my followers are requesting for long podcasts. So we're going to go into that. I probably need someone like yourself, a producer, to help me put it all together and how we should set it up. So maybe that's a project that we'll do together, because there is a part of me that wants to put out probably like quarterly, some longer ones with people like yourself that have a great story and a lot of inspiration. One question I do want to go back. We have about 60 seconds. So I know it's a tough one. You said, into the ring. So you said back in college, a group of you, everybody recognized, and they were looking at themselves in regards to recognizing what are they good at. Most people that I find that I work with or I interact with, they don't know how to go there, meaning they don't reflect to really understand what is it that they love doing or they're great at it. What do you think it was back then that you decided to do that versus saying, you know what, I'm going to go into this career, I'm going to go to college for this program, and then time will tell what I'll go into, or, I'll go become a lawyer, but then, practice law, and then you end up going into producing movies.
Yeah.
We know a lot of people don't end up where their career drives them. What was it, do you think, that really slowed you down, I'll say, and said, you know what is it that I'm really good at? How'd you do that?
Yeah, so I'll say it in one word, which is intuition. I've always felt that my gut was telling me what is right and what is wrong. And sometimes I ignore that feeling that's in my gut and I listen to voices in my head. But ultimately, I think for some reason I've been blessed with just a really clear feeling as to what feels right and aligned for me. And I think everybody actually has this capability. I'll quote David Hochberg that I heard him at TribeWorks say. He said that intuition has 3 characteristics. It's completely calm, has 0 emotion. It's clear, like it's not ambiguous. It's just yes or no. And it's lightning fast. It takes about 3 to 5 seconds to get that. So I think what happens is people have these questions like, should I do this? Should I do that? Is this right? Is this wrong? And they know the answer. But then what happens is voices in their head, doubts, their parents, their friends, their colleagues start, popping up in their head, taking them away from that clarity. But I think just taking like 1 minute and asking yourself what the question is and just leaning into what that answer is. And you could deal with the emotions and the doubts and the fears and the excitement afterward. But ultimately that little like Nakuda, that point of what you should do is there. And it just takes you like a second to listen to it.
Awesome. That brings us to an end to this podcast. I got 30 seconds to finish it off. So C.A. Green, thank you for coming on. Rabbi Green, producer Green, appreciate your time, your story, your inspiration, your wisdom. I will have another short podcast with you, 2.0, just on what we just spoke about, recognizing how to tap into what you're good at, how to connect to that, how to spend time in that 1 minute, how to go with your gut, and everything of that matter. So if you enjoyed what you saw today, please share it, like it, spread the vibes, grow, help people grow, and spread the positivity. If you'd like to be a guest, please don't hesitate. Don't be shy. Ask, and we'll have you on, and we'll share your wisdom. Thank you, Mr. Green.
Thank you, Elie.
This was awesome.
Yeah.